Hey everybody, this is Reza.
This is Sandy.
Welcome back to episode 47 of the Stone Cold Sober podcast.
It's been a really, really big week.
Yeah.
I want to first start by saying we are on iTunes.
Yes, that's the best part. That was a nice birthday present.
It was. So I was doing it while we were recording our last episode.
Yeah.
I just had to, I guess, finally really like solidly look into it, and we had to get a couple of things buttoned up, but we are 100% on iTunes. It took about 24 hours to get us validated by iTunes. So now if you're listening, you'll be listening, if you want to listen on YouTube, perfectly fine. If you want to listen to us through iTunes, that's also available. Just search for us like you would on YouTube, Stone Cold Sober Podcast. And we are listed. There is sort of a diamond logo that we're going with right now. I was thinking over Thanksgiving break, you and I just get like a couple of photos taken and try and figure out like, if we're going to be funny, or I think it'd be funny to take like a series of funny photos for our podcast. Something like not super serious,
I'm not sure how good this will work, but because I'm certainly no model. But
you ain't got to be a model.
Yeah, but coming up with different poses, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we'll definitely make it happen.
Yeah.
So that is the big logistical Stone Cold Sober podcast news.
Yeah. Also, hold on. In addition to iTunes, because we're on Shout Engine and through iTunes, you can actually subscribe directly to us if you have an Android phone through just about any podcast manager. Just search for Stone Cold Sober Podcast. We'll come up. You can subscribe. My favorite podcast app on Android is Podcast Addict. I think it's a really nice one.
Oh, I didn't
just
know
another
that.
idea. Yeah, it's a really nice one because you just subscribe directly on your phone. I'm not sure about iTunes, but I think you have to sync with your computer for you to download the podcasts.
Not with iOS 9.
Oh, okay.
iOS 9 has really nice podcast support because I guess the popularity of podcasts has really improved or increased over each of these releases for them.
Well, that's good.
So I can just search for us right in our phone, and then subscribe right within the phone, and then set like your downloads sort of behavior, like how often you want the phone to download the newest episode.
Yeah,
we will be doing these weekly, like we've always done it. So just set it to like weekly polls for new content. You should be good to go.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of housekeeping for you. I do want to jump in and talk about some pretty big developments.
Yes, so I'm excited to hear about this because I've been up to date with everything, but I still want to hear kind of your in-depth perspective on things. So why don't you kick us off?
So I gave notice to American Express, my current employer, and I will be moving to a sports startup, FanDuel. It all happened rather fast. I know that you and I haven't really been talking too much. I guess it's because we're not playing the same system. To be quite honest with you,
not the same system, not the same game. I mean, you and I haven't gamed together in months.
Has it been months?
It has been because we played. So we had one day that we played Halo about I don't know, maybe about a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago, and then when I was in Seattle, we didn't play. Like at all the entire time that I was out there. We did like I guess like 2 days of the Black Ops 3 beta, and we also did the Rainbow Six beta too. But other than that, that's been it.
Oh wow!
It's been a long time since you and I have really gamed together. Even before I went to Seattle, we just had the Halo campaign, but we haven't been playing anything else either.
I guess that's pretty crazy considering you and I are
That's how the friendship started.
Yeah, that's not only how the friendship started, but that's sort of like you and I have been the most consistent out of all of our friends.
Yeah.
To game out, whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. That'll depend on what camp you're in.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, you haven't. I mean, I know I've been like called you, like it's serious when you got to call somebody and give them a life update.
Yeah.
So I've been at American Express for about 2 years now. Love the company. I think it's been a great place to work. I especially adore the people that I work with. But there was just this opportunity that came along, and I had to take advantage of it. It was one of those things where the timing couldn't have been better when they reached out to me. I really wasn't fielding calls, but when an opportunity like that comes up, you don't say no.
Hmm.
So it was crazy. They sent me a message through LinkedIn, and the first question I asked the recruiter was, "Hey, is this job in New York?" And he goes, "Yeah, we're right in Union Square." And I was like, "Great, that's like a really super central location. I'm all about it." And then the recruiter goes, "Great, why don't you send through your resume?" And I did that the next day, and then the following day they go, "Hey, do you want to like come in for an interview, or do you just want to talk over the phone?" I was like, "Yeah, let's just go do an in person sort of like a meet and greet." And that was, I want to say, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and then I. What was funny is I already had plans with friends booked like basically all that week. I wasn't planning on taking an interview, but by Wednesday, I had already said yes to an interview for Friday. And most of my group was in Palo Alto,
Yeah.
just doing like a group working session. So it was pretty quiet around the office. And what? Yeah, so I was like supposed to go out to dinner with friends, and in my mind, stupidly, I go, "Well, my friends made plans with me first, so I am not canceling on them." Which is kind of like super stupid if you think about it, because an interview is arguably more important, and anyone who is even semi well adjusted will sort of understand, like, oh, well, if you're interviewing for a job, like, obviously that's more important.
Right.
But in my mind, for some reason, I was like, whatever. Like, it'll be good. Like, it's not like I wasn't taking it seriously by any stretch of the imagination. It was just,
Yeah.
I'm not going to just cancel my friends. Um, so, I went to dinner Wednesday night, Thursday night, and went to the interview on Friday morning. And it was a great interview. Actually, I can't even say that because I walked out of that thinking,
I was about to be like, Sandy, I don't know about that.
yeah, I walked out of that. So what was great was how in depth they were in their questions.
Okay.
So it wasn't just like hey, tell me about a time you did this. They're like, oh, like I want to talk about very sort of discrete things, like why did you make this decision in this design, and what did you do here, and they really went through my portfolio with a fine tooth comb, which I can really
Hmm.
appreciate. Just goes to show you that, like, oh, like this isn't just something that you took at the last minute, that you really took the time to sort of vet things.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just like got taken aback for a moment, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is like super serious. I should definitely have canceled all my friends for dinner." And I think I texted you. I was like, "Yeah, looking doubtful." And doubtful is sort of a injury term in football, where you have a 25% chance of playing. So
Yeah.
most of the time, when somebody's doubtful, they're just not going to play. So I use that metaphor as I go, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to be joining FanDuel anytime soon." So what I did over the weekend was I played Uncharted 2. Um, like really intensely. I platinumed that game, so I 100% of that game. I was like, just enjoy yourself. Now you sort of know what's out there, and you'll do better next time. Well,
Yeah.
I get a email on Tuesday or Monday morning, and like, hey, we really liked what we heard. We like to move forward with the process, and I like basically did one of those like excited tap on my coworker's shoulders, like, hey, 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 read this. And he goes, oh my god, I thought you said you tanked it. I go, I did too. And so what they wanted me to do was sort of gave me a case study to analyze some like other apps in market and provide feedback, which I did. That's like all I worked on that night. I got like at this point I was like, okay, game on. Like
Yeah.
well, in the words of Human Torch, flame on. And so that's all I did. And I had my friend at work sort of help me, my really good friend. You know who you are. And so I sent it to them on Tuesday morning, and they got back to me really quickly. They're like, "Hey, thank you so much for sending this. We're gonna go with one of the concepts or one of the apps that you gave us, and then can you sort of go through like your assumptions that you made, and why did you what are your basically like backing up every one of the assumptions that I made. Like if I thought we changed this, it would make this better. So they really wanted to sort of go through my thought process.
Right.
And so I basically went through like with a fine tooth comb. I was like, this is why I thought about this, and this is why I thought about that, and that was really fun. I sent that to them on the Thursday before Halloween for a what amounted to a 1 hour, well, an hour and a half with them with the same two guys again that I interviewed first, who happened to be head of the design team at FanDuel.
Hmm.
Do people know what FanDuel is?
Yeah, I assume most sports fans or even podcast listeners know. You can explain it if you like, though.
Yes, FanDuel is a daily sports fantasy website or product that allows you to set lineups of players you think are going to do really well, and then you enter that into, different contests, and the team with the sort of higher score, and the score is sort of determined based on their output in whatever contest they're doing, whatever sport they're in.
Hmm.
And then the top percentiles or what have you get cash money. I think that's a good way of saying it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so and yeah, what what was next? Right. So I go in on Friday morning, and I dressed. So the first time I went for the interview, I was dressed like with dark jeans and a blazer,
Hmm.
because I figured, like I didn't want to look like I wasn't gonna wear a suit because that's not the culture of the startup. At least their particular startup, it wasn't the culture, so I didn't want to seem like too out of place. But I also wanted to respect them and be like, "Hey, I'm interviewing. I'm not gonna just come like rolling in some like scrub shit, you know."
Yeah, yeah. I hear you.
So it's definitely something that's still, I won't lie, it's still new to me. I'm definitely one of the people that would feel really comfortable if I just wore a suit. That's just sort of how I'm wired. And so the second time after the first interview, I showed up in just dark jeans and like a nice button down. So sort of like a lot more casual. And they walked through the document that like gave all my assumptions based after the first document that I sent, and then it was like, all right, let's draw on the board. So it was a lot of just like designing in front of them, and then them pushing my thinking, like, why did you make this decision? Why did you make that decision? And it was a lot of fun. I really appreciate those types of working sessions because, you know, was it did I feel the pressure? Sure, but it was also knowing that like it's sort of like I sort of liken it to when you take a test in high school. You know how like it's always closed book, no notes.
Yes.
That's not how real life works, right? You're never going to be the only one in the room tasked with creating like the answer to something.
And no Google.
And no Google, like people just want you to do your job properly. And
Yeah,
if
yeah.
that means using resources, people be like, yeah, why are you not using resources? Like just do whatever it takes to get the job done. So
Hmm.
in that sense, it was nice because we were working together and they were pushing my thinking, and it was a really sort of interactive experience, which
That's good.
which is cool, but also sort of like crazy because they're sitting right there and like sort of giving you comments and
Yeah. When you told me that, I really like kind of likened it to my preliminary exam that I had to do about a year and a half ago, where it's like I'm kind of leading it, but a lot of times the instructors, the people that were kind of grilling me, they would kind of chime in, and it was almost discussions at certain points.
right. I think that's right on the nose. So after about an hour, one of the guys has to go to a meeting, but then the other one of the other guys is still available. So he goes, we grilled you, now you grill us. And then so I asked him sort of about his history and all that stuff, and it was after that, he had to leave, and I got to meet with the head recruiter, the like in-house recruiter that they have, so like
Yeah.
talent acquisition. And he told me about his background, where he's come from, and how he really likes it at FanDuel for his numerous reasons. And we talked about compensation, which is always an interesting moment because I wasn't prepared to talk about compensation that day. I thought that it was going to be like later in the process had I had the opportunity to continue to interview. So he just threw me. He was like, "Let's just just tell me what you're making right now," and I gave him like X plus, a percentage, and he goes, "You make a bonus?" And I go, "Yes," and I gave him X plus percentage on that as well. And he goes, "Yeah, I think we can make you a really competitive offer. We'd be looking to move really fast. Are you talking to anyone else?" Which is all like sort of like standard questions, so everyone sort of understands what the other person's timelines are
Right.
looking like. And I told him, "Yeah, I'm talking to other people." And he goes, "Okay, good to know." And I told him, "Listen, if you give me, if you come back with me and you sort of give me an offer, I won't wait till sort of bonus payout season at Amex. Like I'll just leave. I don't want to let a good opportunity slip through my fingers." So he goes, "Great, we'll be in touch." And I was like, after that interview, I felt a lot more confident coming out of that one. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm not saying probable, definitely at least a questionable, which is sort of like funny as like terminology, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Questionable in sports is 50% possibility to play. Probable is 75%. I wasn't going to sit here in front of you and lie and say, I was 75% confident that I got the job because there was like a
Right.
few parts. I was like, oh, I definitely could have answered this better, could have answered that better. And
Understandable.
right. And so I am sort of freaking out Monday morning because they haven't gotten back to me yet during like the times in the past when they've gotten back to me on things.
Mm.
Like, oh well, you didn't get back to me between this time, and this is when all of our other emails have gone through, pat to and from each other. Is that a good sign? It's basically the classic Sandy overanalyzing.
Classic. Everybody overanalyzing.
Oh sure, and I was like, you know what, like give it a day. It's not a big deal. Assumed for some reason that if I didn't get it, I would hear back from them. For some reason, it just struck me that that was going to be a thing. Because some people like to do that, but not everyone. Some
Mm.
people are just like, oh, you didn't get it. I'm sorry. But I think if you go deep enough into a process, then they will give you the courtesy, knowing that it was like one of the final rounds or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't hear anything, and then I'm sort of out at a welcome drinks event for a new employee at my current group. And then I get an email at around like 8 o'clock at night. And it goes, "Hey, hope you had a good weekend. Do you think you can set some time aside for, tomorrow morning at 9? We won't need the full time." And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's just do 9 o'clock right on the dot." I was like, I'm not going to do like 10 o'clock, right? Like, I'm not going to survive. There's nothing else I'm
Hmm.
thinking about. And then he calls me right at 9 o'clock and he goes, "Hey, how was your weekend?" And in my mind, I was like, "Please, let's just move to it. Let's just move to it." Um, I was like, good. He's a big Giants fan, the recruiter.
Mm.
So I was like, "Hey, man," and this was the week that Eli threw for 6 and Drew Brees threw for 7 touchdowns. So it was like
Yeah.
a big weekend for him as a sports fan. So we were talking about that for a little bit. He goes, "All right, listen, I wanted to talk to you. I got the feedback from the two guys, and in my mind, I was like, nope, I didn't get the job because." If I got the job, you would have said immediately congratulations. And because you didn't say congratulations immediately, I didn't get the job. So I had literally a notebook on my bed. And the second he said, I got the feedback, and I was like, I literally just did a slow closing of the notebook. I was like, nope, yeah, that's too bad. Really, I started out a little shaky, not shaky, but just sort of. It's like getting caught on a blitz, right? Like you just got to pick up the blitz, and I thought I picked up the blitz rather nicely,
Yeah.
especially in my later interviews. But when he said, we got the feedback, I was like, oh Jesus, that's really disappointing. I thought I did really well. And then he was saying like, like one person, really liked you, another person had some feedback, but still really liked you, so we're gonna make you an offer. And my heart just jumped out of my chest. They gave me a number. It was really competitive and compelling to what I was currently sort of making.
Right.
There's some other financial incentives attached with it, so that was also really cool. I sort of just like, yeah. I'm down. Let's sort of next steps." He goes, "You know, after I got the verbal, then we sort of he goes, I'll send over everything." And he sent it to me later that evening. Um, and then I signed the offer and faxed it over the next day.
Nice.
I gave notice, and my last day will be November 20th. My first day at FanDuel will be December 1st. So that is the story of getting the job at FanDuel.
All right. That's exciting, man.
It's exciting for a lot of reasons. It's exciting because I've always sort of wanted to know if I had the stones to make it in a startup because the stakes are just a lot realer.
Yeah.
What's nice about this particular startup is it's really well funded. So it's not like some not
It's not
whole
a giant risk.
it's not the giant risk, right? The FanDuel, I mean, the fact that they've got all these commercials should be an indicator of how much money they have.
Yeah.
And they've gone through multiple rounds of funding. Each round of funding did phenomenally well, and they've got a lot of big names backing them. So that was one thing. Another thing was I just love sports, and
Yeah.
I've always wanted to know when people say like, "Oh, when you do something you're passionate about, you never work a day in your life." And I, not to say that I'm not considering this work, but the fact that I am passionate about the subject material, I think is a big deal to really like what you do.
Hmm.
Like, it's not that I didn't like what I did at Amex. I definitely loved what I did at Amex. But this is just different. It's just like, this is the thing I always have on when I'm at work, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's, it's like, this is all that me and my coworkers talk about. Like, I run a fantasy league at work with 14 people, and every Tuesday morning, I send a giant email recapping all the action of the week. I mean, I
Right.
know I CC you on these, and it's just I don't know if you read them, but I definitely like. It's just funny, like the office politics and just like shitting on each other. Like it's just I take this stuff more seriously than I should probably, but it's just like when you like something, you don't really half-ass it.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you.
And I texted. You remember when I went to San Francisco to see that girl?
Yes.
I texted her and I said, "Hey, hope all is well. I have something to tell you. Well, I really just need to thank you. Um, Let me just read this real quick.
Okay.
I hope, friend in San Francisco, I hope you don't mind. But it was sort of a nice little moment. I said to her, I go, so I have to tell you something. Really, I have to thank you. When I visited you way back, when I visited you way back, when you really opened my eyes to the new world that I didn't have access to in New York City and made me more comfortable to that possibility. While I'm not moving to San Francisco yet, I did give notice to American Express yesterday and I'm moving on to a startup, albeit an established one. Gonna try chasing my passion for once. And she goes, "Wow, this moved me so much. Thank you for making my week by telling me. I'm so glad to hear that the trip was good for you, and I'm so proud of you for making this leap. You'll be infinitely glad you did and chased your passion." And I go, "Seriously, couldn't have done it without you. I'm excited for what's to come. Is it scary? Absolutely. But I'm looking for scary. I need some scary right now." And so it was just sort of really, I just needed to tell her that she was one of the few people that really pushed me to do this. And she sort of incepted that idea into me a long time ago. The thing is, I wanted to not make the same mistake that I did at Ogilvy, which was stay around for too long, based just because of the people,
I see.
and because I usually am really good friends with. I mean, not usually. It's just every job that I've had, I've become really close with the people I work with. Uh, it's probably just a testament to my kind of personality or what have you. But at Ogilvy, I maybe stayed a little bit too long just because of the people and how much fun and how much I cared for them, sort of like deeply, knowing that when you're in the trenches like that,
Yeah.
it's hard not to sort of connect with people. And I didn't want to make the same mistake this time. And when it was that good, sort of like that welcome dinner, there was a moment where I was alone with a few really close friends, and I sort of just let it slip. Like, hey guys, I can't just sit here and feel disingenuous with you guys. I gave notice. Or rather, I'm gonna be giving notice in the morning.
Hmm.
And they're like, "Oh my god, like, where are you going?" And they were all extremely supportive. They're like, this is terrible news for us, but this is great news for you. We're really excited for you. We wish all the best for you, and that stuff really moves me. Because
Yeah.
you're at work for so much of your life that for me, it's hard not to sort of become friends with people, but at the same time, in the back of my head, and this just might be an insecurity of mine, but I'm always like, are we really friends, or is everyone just incredibly nice to me? And that's how
It's like a variant of that imposter syndrome, isn't it?
I think it is. I think it's like it's just easier if we were all nice to each other, and made work pleasant. But that doesn't mean you actually like have to like me in any way. I think
Yeah.
for me personally, and I don't know if this is a character strength or a character flaw, but it's very important for people to like me. Um, I find that when not like everybody, but like coworkers, for sure. I just find like I just have this like maybe not a compulsive need to be liked, but I just find that it makes things just a lot better.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I think most people kind of have that too. Um, Unless you're kind of like a sociopath or something like that. Typically, everyone wants to be liked. From time to time, you probably are okay with somebody not liking you, but it probably goes both ways at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of my really good friends, she got very emotional. She started like tearing up at the table,
Mm.
and it's just like that. I mean, I don't want to sound like a mean person, but that like really warmed my heart because it's like, oh my god, like these are real emotions that you have,
Right.
and not that I don't want to sound callous, but I was like, I didn't know that we were at that level, like it just meant a lot to me,
Yeah.
and I wish it didn't, like I wish it was like based on something else, but this is just such a good opportunity for me, and it doesn't change the fact that we're good friends. It's just that you might not see, just not going to see me every day,
Yeah.
and
It's such a bittersweet thing.
right, it's it's absolutely a bittersweet thing. And the nerd part of me sort of likened it to the last song in The Hobbit Five Armies. I don't know if you heard the song at the end of the credits, but it's sort of like end of the journey. It's time for everyone to go home. And sort of the some of the lyrics of the song are just like, like I don't know if I'll ever see you again, but I'll always remember the times we had together.
Yeah.
And that just like I don't know, like I got fucking emotional on my walk home. It was like a late night for all of us, and I just got really emotional because like god damn, like a part of me is like, am I making the right decision? Like these are such great people. What am I doing? But then I was like, no, like don't be silly. Like this is like it's a passion. You have to give it a shot. If you don't, this will be always one of those things that you'll say, what if? And nobody's got time for that.
Right.
So it's just the idea of leaving a job and realizing that people really do care for you, and when they say these really nice things, it's just really moving, and it fills my heart with joy, just to know that a we are that close. We do have a relationship on some level, and that hopefully this won't be the end for us. That
Yes.
we'll still stay in touch, and if it's meant to be, then hopefully this won't be the last time that we see each other. It's just yeah, I just had to share that because it hasn't been easy. It's not like I gave notice. I'm just cackling on my way out. It's definitely something that I'm gonna miss the shit out of the people I work with.
Absolutely.
So, but I did, like I said before, I was definitely not trying to make the same mistake I had before, because then that would mean that I haven't grown. So that was important for me.
Yeah, I understand. Um, I'm proud of you for making the move. Um,
Thank you.
it's such a hard thing because it's you make such meaningful friends, and like it's almost like I don't know if it's like high school or what. Maybe that's like the best comparison that I can make to it right now, since that's about as far as I've gotten to that level. But you see these people every day. You almost take for granted the fact that you see them all the time. People that you work hard together with, you share laughs with, you eat lunch with, things like that, and then uh, to have to make the decision to leave. Um, it's a really nice thing that you're going to be in the city and still be near those people, so you can still catch up with them, you can still see them,
Yes,
and that's a great thing.
for sure. It's yeah, it's always going to be tough, right? And
Right.
it's just nice to know that you've made some pretty meaningful relationships. I had a sort of conversation with a good friend of mine over dinner, and he goes, "Oh, I never get close with my coworkers. It's just not something I do. I need to sort of because he's definitely in a management position, and he goes, I can't have sort of something happening in like I guess in like the quote unquote real world that could affect how you view me and then like affect your performance at work."
Yeah.
I go, that makes perfect sense. He goes, like, I'm not gonna go out with like first year analysts and then they see like all of us getting drunk, and then when I ask for a report at like due at 3 p.m. he doesn't do it. He goes, it's not a big deal. He goes, no, it's a big deal. I asked for it at 3 p.m. for a reason. He doesn't want to
Mm.
compromise that sort of leadership position, and I think that makes a ton of sense. I just think that that is the difference in our industries, where because we were building a product together, that it was just so much like we were spending so much time together, and it was impossible not to sort of get to know one another. And this was the same group that I took the trip out to the Grand Canyon with.
Right.
So I've got a lot of close friends, and like if you're willing to go on like like basically an 8 hour road trip with your coworkers, like you like them. Like it's just plain and simple. You like your coworkers.
Yeah.
Most people would be like, you're out of your goddamn mind. But we just I don't know. It's different.
Hmm.
So that's all I have to say on that. Like I said before, starting on the 1st of December, I will have a few days off for Thanksgiving that week, and then just right back in it.
That's that's good. Um, do you know what your holiday schedule will be like after you start in terms of like Christmas and New Year and all?
So I'm gonna play it pretty conservatively this year. I want to say. I
Okay.
don't know if I'm gonna be able to come home for obviously as long as I usually have been able to come home. Like these like 3 week sort of jaunts at home.
Right.
Um, they do have 2 days off for Christmas and then 2 days off for New Year's. Because I'm the new guy, I'm probably just gonna try and stay local. If I don't have to, I'm definitely gonna come home for as long as I can.
Okay.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah. Um, do you think you? Oh, you're not allowed to play FanDuel because you work there. I was
Correct.
about to say, do you think you'll play? And I just realized you can't.
I can't play FanDuel. Nope.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
How do you have any idea how many people that work there have had played before?
Oh, that
That's interesting now, like because I imagine like the process of development and everything is you're gonna have a completely different perspective on it than the people who actually play because you're not allowed to play.
right. Um, which may or may not be a good thing
Yeah.
because I won't be sort of saddled to things that they've done in the past.
Yeah. Little few biases and whatnot.
Right. That's a good question. I can't answer that because I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Are there like work leagues
I think there
by any
are.
chance?
I think there's like
Okay. So
private in-house work leagues,
okay.
and I don't know if there's I don't know if there's money involved in that. It might be just like fun, like really tiny
Right. Right.
pots, but maybe that could be interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I like fantasy. This week would prove to all my listeners that I'm terrible at fantasy. losing in every league. In one league, I'm losing by like 150, which is absolutely absurd. If we take a quick detour into fantasy world, I'm losing 186 to 64. The man had Cam Newton, who went off for 34 points, Antonio Brown, who had
Oh
284
Jesus.
receiving yards. Randall Cobb had 15 points. And then he had Devontae Freeman, Todd Gurley, and D'Angelo Williams. D'Angelo Williams had almost 40 points.
Yeah.
Like he posted on my Facebook, he goes, "I feel bad for this win." I literally texted back to him. I was like, "Just take me out back and shoot me." That's how badly I did this week.
D'Angelo Williams, how many touchdowns did he have? Like three, two, three,
He had two.
and then Antonio Brown had like 200 yards.
Yeah, it was just
Did he have a touchdown as well?
he did not have a touchdown, but
Okay, I didn't think so.
284 yards is
284. Wow. Okay, I was watching that at the gym when I was doing like cardio, and I saw in the first half he had 180 some yards. I did not see how he did in the second half. That's absolutely insane.
184 yards in the first half.
The fact that he got another 100 on top of that, though, is absolutely wild
I
too.
mean, that's some Madden numbers that you're putting up.
Yeah,
That's exactly what that is.
yeah,
That's when you realize that you found an exploit in the game, and you're just exploiting it. So, what else I want to talk about? Oh, tonight I had dinner with an old friend who you know as well.
yeah.
His name is Jin Ong. We went to school together during high school, and the last time I saw him was when we graduated.
Yep, same here.
Yeah, he sent me a message saying like, "Hey, I'll be stateside. If you are available, I'd love to catch up with you." And I was like, "Absolutely! Like, it's been so long that we have to catch up." So we went to a dinner at this place called Colicchio and Sons, which is like a pretty fancy place. The food was spectacular, dude. It was unreal. It was really good. I brought my friend Jenny along. Podcast listeners will know Jenny was the girl that I took to the wedding,
Yeah,
and she also has a lot of good news. She got a new job. She got a big girl job, and it's a really exciting job. It's at one of the best firms in the world. So we've been sort of celebrating that news together, and tonight I was like, hey, like she goes, oh, do I have to dress up? I was like, yeah, you gotta dress up. It's a nice place. She goes, oh, I've been dressed up all weekend. I was like, it's funny. We caught up, and it was, like it's one of those people where you haven't seen in forever, and you pick up like it was yesterday.
yeah,
That's exactly what it was like. And I won't lie to you, I was a little nervous because we hadn't really like kept in touch.
yeah. I hear you.
It's not like you and I, like we kept in. I mean, we didn't really keep in touch, but we just like, all right, what am I saying? It's not like us at all. Um, just because like we started talking rather quickly. No, I always
Yeah.
get this date wrong, but was it sophomore year that we started talking?
I think it was junior year. Cause no,
No,
it was senior year. It was senior year.
no.
It's Black Ops 1. Yeah, man. Black Ops 1 came out senior year, dude. I didn't play the Xbox until junior year. I didn't even have it.
I feel like these dates get older and older every time I ask you this question. Next thing you know, you can be like, "Oh, dude, it was like 2 years out of college, man." It's like, no, okay, if you say so. I mean,
I'm telling you. I didn't play the Xbox until till junior year. That was Modern Warfare 2, and um, we didn't play till Black Ops 1, till the end of Black Ops 1.
no, okay. So, like, because we hadn't really kept in touch, I was like, oh, like, we're in, we just need to, like, we just didn't have, like, a lot of common ground in a sense.
Right.
But, fears were totally unfounded. When he sat down with his girlfriend, like, it was just, like, super easy. Like,
Oh, I didn't know he was here with his girlfriend.
yeah, his girlfriend that he met at university
Okay.
during their second year, he said. Jin, if you're listening, that's me paying attention to detail. The joke at dinner was that I just like have a horrible attention to detail, and them as because him and his girlfriend are both lawyers. That attention to detail is very important in their relationship I was like, especially when you guys fight, right? Like, you guys, it's all about the wording, what you guys said, and so that was a little joke. So
Yeah.
there's my attention to detail. It was great. Like, girlfriend was really sweet and really funny, and we sort of just caught up with like what we've been doing since we graduated from school, and
Which is a
which
lot.
is a lot to cover, but it was a great fun. So the place that we went to, Calicchio and Sons, the way they serve their food is all appetizer portions.
Uh,
And the idea behind that is this way you can order a few things and try a bunch of what the chef has made. So we each ordered three things and then a dessert. So it's a really like hearty meal. It wasn't like the portion sizes were enough where you could get a taste of things. It wasn't like a microscopic portion,
yeah.
but it wasn't definitely like a what's it called, like a TGI Fridays portion where it's just like too much food, like they can't even give it away at that point. So yeah, we talked. We're like, oh, like hopefully if you're able to make it, he'd love to see you, and no pressure. Hopefully, if it works out, it does. If not, then it's fine.
Yeah.
So, but all in all, it was a great meal, and it was sort of like, really nice to see him. He's doing very well for himself. He's a corporate lawyer right now that specializes in mergers and acquisitions. And I mean, like, it was crazy, right? Because Jim was always one of the smartest kids in school, and
Yeah.
he was just always much more like mature than all of us were. And I don't know if that potentially got him bullied. I don't know if bullying was a big problem at our school, but all I know is that kids our age back then had no idea what they were doing. But he always seemed like he had a good head on his shoulders. So it's nice to see that he's doing really well.
Yeah, for sure.
He said that he drove back to Unionville, our old alma mater high school,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh my God, the place has changed so much. I almost missed the turn." I
Yeah.
was like,
It has.
yeah. I mean, the entrance itself is such a good symbol for how much it has changed.
Yeah. I haven't been there in a while. I haven't been inside the school since we were students there. Um, and I haven't driven out in front of it in a bit. But it's very different. Like if you look at it from the outside, you really wouldn't know that that was our high school.
Right. It almost looks like a campus now.
Yeah. I don't think they have mod buildings anymore. Things like that.
Oh yeah, like the trailers.
Yeah.
Um, I like how they tried to like brand it as mods. It's like, nah, dude, just call it what it
Right now
is.
they're just trailers.
Yeah, just
Hey, the new mod they were nice because they had AC though. Like most of the school when we were there didn't have air conditioning, so if you had a class out in the mods, you had air conditioning. That was
that
nice.
was nice. You're absolutely right. I totally forgot about that little bit. Oh, can you imagine no AC? Like, how do you want me to
Yeah,
focus?
yeah, I remember that, and especially like after gym class, they would have the fan all right out front. So a lot of us would just like stand there and take turns outside the
Oh,
fan,
that's so funny.
and just like blow the air underneath your shirt just to cool down because you have to go on to your next classes.
Yeah,
Um,
that's too funny.
yeah,
So yeah, he's doing a nice little tour of the Eastern Seaboard. He hasn't been in America since he graduated high school, so
hmm
it's been a nice little trip for him and his girlfriend. They've got a couple of
yeah,
like, I mean, I know she said, or they both said that she's been back or she's been to the U.S. a few times, but because he hasn't, like, they're gonna be doing a good amount of touristy things. Um, which is fine. I said that if I can, I'll meet up with him again.
yeah.
So yeah, that's really quote unquote all I have this week. I know it's just I dominated the podcast this week, but that's all I have.
Nice.
Um, what else do I want to talk to you about? Oh, what are we playing? I need to tell you. So sort of like our video game update. I beat Uncharted 3
There you go.
and I platinumed it, and that just means like all of the certain things you had to get done. You had to like all of the little challenges. 100%. So I have 100%ed all three Uncharted's. And then today I bought the game Journey.
Did you?
And can I just tell you that is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life?
Really?
It was so incredible. There's no words in the entire game. It's all well. First of all, it's a short game, which sort of compounds the statement of best game ever, not best game ever played, but like definitely in the top pantheon of games I've ever played.
Hmm.
It's I beat it in like 2 hours. I played it in one sitting, and it was honestly one of the most emotional experiences I've ever been on.
Wow.
Um, Crazy. It was the storytelling was amazing. Game is visually one of the most beautiful games. It the art direction is incredible. I'm gonna see if I can share some of the screenshots that I took because I kept like stopping and taking screenshots of things just because like it was so beautifully like created that it kept taking my breath away. And there is sort of like it's kind of like a single player game, but the way the game was designed, like random people can come into your game like seamlessly.
Yeah.
Like you'll just sort of like happen upon somebody and you won't be able to connect with them, like communicate with them outside of like your character sending these like pings. So there's no like words. You can't chat with them over the headset. And then in the times that somebody would come across my game, we'd work together. And then because like you know how I play video games, right? Like I'm just trying to like search for everything. Like some
Hmm.
people would stay around and some people would just move on. And then it was really sad when somebody moved on because it's like, oh, like it's a really quiet and expansive world. And like I thought we were in this together. And thankfully it's not one of those games where you're like trying to kill each other because god, like I can't even imagine like the amount of nonsense that you'd have to go through. But yeah, like a couple like I made it to the end with one guy like the last few chapters. He died a few times. There's like nothing I could do to save him. It wasn't like I mean I did watch him die, but it was
Yeah.
for like the timing of the platform. And it was like a really like at certain times at the end it got really like unnerving because of I mean I'm not gonna ruin why it was unnerving, but sort of what happened at the end. And like I had my headphones on the entire time and the score like it was one of the most beautiful soundtracks I've ever heard. I even bought like you're gonna laugh, but I bought the dynamic theme for the PS4. Like I spent $2 and now my PlayStation 4 has the Journey like dynamic theme in the background.
Interesting.
That's how much I love this game, and I'm really happy that I bought the PS4 just to experience these types of games. You know, like
Yeah.
Journey and Flower, and these are all games that we've heard of as Xbox owners, but
Hmm.
you know, sort of like our gaming habits before didn't sort of make time for this kind of stuff because we were always playing Call of Duty and you know, I've always wanted to play Heavy Rain. I don't know if I'll get that game next or if I'll get Last of Us. But I definitely wanted to tell you that it's definitely one of the best games I've ever played. And I was really happy that I got to experience that today. It just felt like so many emotions were going through me at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little moment that I had.
That's interesting. I haven't seen like too much footage of that game, so I don't even know how it really works or anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
I don't know if I
I'm
don't know
looking up
if
a couple
that
little videos right now, but that's about it.
yeah, I don't know if that game is gonna be like you can translate the same sort of transcendent experience that I had over like a video of
Yeah,
somebody else playing. I do know
definitely.
that there is somebody at work who's a really big YouTuber. Um, Satchel, Satchel Drakes is his name. It's funny because in his videos he always goes Satchel like a bag Drakes. Um, he's a I mean we'll put a link in the description for his channel. He definitely is a much more prestigious YouTuber than quote unquote we are. But because we work in the same office for now, we've talked about sort of our video game stuff, and it was just really interesting to hear like sort of see his reaction. He goes, "Oh man, you're about to play Journey. Oh, I can't wait to talk to you about your views on that game." So I'm really excited to talk to him about that.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely one of those guys who's like super smart about. He knows all the culture references of everything, like really obscure movies and art and sort of music, and so he's like what I liked about his videos is that he's not trying to persuade you to see it his way, like his way is or the highway, but he's definitely saying this is why I see it this way, and I hope you can sort of empathize with why I see it this way. Like these
Yeah.
are the cultural sort of influences that I see from this. What do you think? So all of the or most of the comments, not all, most of the comments on his channel, like, oh, like they have it's basically a discussion in his comments instead of a flame war going on, which is sort of
Hmm.
like a rarity, and that sort of drew me in immediately. It's like, oh, people aren't going on like ridiculous like gay or religion bashing in your comment section. Like, okay, that's you seem to have a pretty good subscriber base then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Oh, I think Tomb Raider comes out on Tuesday.
Yeah, it does. So it's Fallout. Although I'm waiting to see the reviews on that before I do anything with that. I haven't been able to play like as much as I want.
Well, I'm sure you're really busy.
I've just been busy. Well, yeah, I've been really busy with school, but then this weekend I went to the Statue of Liberty with Lena. Did the whole New Jersey thing.
Let's talk about it.
I don't want to go too much into detail because it's getting late and I do have to process this. But essentially, we just had like a getaway weekend.
Nice.
It's been a long time since we've kind of been able to get away, but for just the two of us. Literally, I guess the last time it's just the two of us spending time together was when we were in Europe, when we were in England. That was like 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess really Paris at that point.
So just you two was nice.
Yeah, it was just the two of us. It was just like a day trip, more or less. I stayed at her place on Thursday. So Friday morning, because she works Sunday to Thursday, so her weekend starts on Friday. So I sort of took the day off on Friday. She drove us up. My birthday was on Monday, this past Monday. So she drove me up, and as a surprise, 'cause I had no idea where we were going. All of a sudden, we end up like at Liberty Park in New Jersey.
You didn't know the entire time?
No, I didn't know where we were going at all. She never told me. She likes to do surprises and stuff like that. So
That's nice. That's cute.
we get there and we're just like right across from Battery Park, just right on the other side of the Hudson. I'm like, oh, that's where Sandy's office
Yeah.
is. So we went over to the Statue of Liberty. She got us tickets to go up to the top. We did that.
How is it at the top? Is
that-
it nice?
It's not what I thought it was going to be. It's super cramped climbing up. I'll tell you about it like tomorrow, but it's very cramped when you climb up. Like there are a total like 400 stairs. The first like 200 stairs take you to the pedestal,
Okay.
and you up at the pedestal, and it's super cramped. Like it's a square round. You remember when we were up at the Space Needle?
Yeah.
Basically like that. That amount of space between you and like where if you want to stand against the wall and there are people behind you, there's just enough room for two people to kind of like inch their way across. Like you can't really be walking side by side,
Right.
if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
You kind of have to turn your body. So we walked around, got a couple pictures, and then we started working our way up to the head. And at that point, it's a super narrow spiral staircase. There's just enough room for one person to fit, one at a time. You can't walk side by side. And the guy that was working there said that before 9/11, they used to let everybody go up there. They used nowadays they only let up about 365 people per day. Before 9/11, they used to let up like 15,000 people up. He said it would take like 2 hours for you to get to the top. It blew my mind. He said that like how long it would take people to get to the top. He said they would have like 60 medical emergencies every year. And I can't imagine that because there's no elevator and it's a super narrow staircase. It was hot while we were there and it wasn't that hot outside.
Right.
Like we're in there. There are very few people inside. It's super hot, super congested, and I'm a little claustrophobic in there. And it's just me and Lena. Like they kind of stagger people as you go through, so you don't really run into anybody else other than the people in your party. And so we work our way up. It takes us just a few minutes to get to the top. It wasn't too bad. But some people that were a bit out of shape, especially even getting up to the pedestal, those people had issues getting up to the pedestal. Some people, when we were going up the spiral stairwell, they were like, "No, I can't do it."
Jesus.
They were a bit like they were. Well, it was. I don't think it was less. I think it was less them not feeling conditioned for it. They were just kind of scared of heights and maybe claustrophobic.
I think the claustrophobia is a big deal.
Yeah, because you're like, it's a super narrow stairwell. The stairs are kind of high. There's not much room to like you look around, you look over the banister to your right, and it's almost like a wall not too far from you. It's just the sides of the statue, or mostly like scaffolding. You can't really tell where in the statue you are, but you finally get to the top, and the windows are really small. Like the head is very small. You get up there. And you look out the windows. So like 5 windows, like above the crown, I guess. And it's like not even a super clean window, so you can see out, but it's really only for the view. You're not going to really get many good pictures, although I did take a picture or two.
Good.
So after that, we skipped Ellis Island because we hadn't been able to eat. We kind of had an appointment to be there to go up to the tower at 1. I didn't know if we had to make that appointment or not. So we got there and we skipped Ellis Island because it goes from Jersey to Ellis Island, then Ellis Island to the statue, then it goes back to Liberty City. Although you could take another one to Ellis Island, but we hadn't eaten and didn't have a ton of time throughout the day. So
what is Liberty City?
Liberty City, that's just where Liberty City Park. That's where you disembark in
Gotcha.
Jersey.
Sorry.
So after that, we just checked into the hotel. After we ate, we stayed at the Hilton Meadowlands. So we were just like super close to
Giants.
to the Giants and Jet Stadium.
Yeah.
MetLife Stadium, and we went and we got dinner at this place. I think it's called Aldi La is the name of this restaurant. It was really good food. An Italian restaurant. I thought the portions were going to be small, but they were very, very big. And they ended up doing karaoke, which I know you love, but Lena and I are just sitting there like, oh goodness, like they started, like some people were loud. Most of the people, like 99% of the people that were singing were really good. It was just that it was super loud. So when we were talking, we really had to yell. We're trying to have like a romantic dinner, so to speak, and kind of have to yell to speak to each other across the table.
Are you trying to tell me that you don't think karaoke is
romantic? No.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Our birthday dinner when my birthday dinner when it's just the two of us getting to enjoy our company or each other's company, but it was fine. It was good. We were making jokes most of the time, so we made the best of the situation. I think it was really good.
Sure.
Like I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't like upset by it at all. We were literally cracking up at certain points. We never really get dessert at dinner, but we shared a chocolate cake. I got a coffee.
Nice. Coffee after dinner is one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, I love it. And then we went back to the hotel. She ended up falling asleep at about 11. I watched The Replacements on TV.
Oh, Jesus.
It's such a bad movie. And then I can't remember why I stayed up for so long. I guess
I understand. Sometimes I stay up too.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 11 when she fell asleep, and I just stayed up. It was like 1. I don't think I had any reason to stay up. I was just kind of chilling out. The next morning, we went to Hoboken and got breakfast.
Nice.
We had this one place in mind. Like, we looked up a place because she had a restaurants.com coupon, and so we were trying to use that. And so we went over, and it turned out that it was not breakfasty at all. It was like 12:30 when we got there, 12:30, and music was blasting. They had the college football games on, and just the smell of beer. We literally had to get carted to go inside, and we're like, yeah, they don't even have brunch here. So we walked out, and there was a place right across the street called La Bouche, which was a French restaurant. So we went over there and got breakfast, which was really good.
Nice. Do you guys use a lot of restaurant.com stuff?
No, she's had these for like a long time, and so she was trying to make use of them.
Yeah, because I remember buying like $50 worth of restaurant.com gift certificates. I want to say like 3 years ago, and I don't think I ever used any of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with hers. So she realized that she had it. She's like, oh, I should try using that. So she printed it out before we came up.
Was it hard to use? Do people still take them?
Yeah, the people still took them to where we went. Although one of the restaurants that she bought it for her, like the reason why she bought it is because there was a restaurant that we go to in Delaware, and they stopped taking it.
Oh, I guess. So okay, I guess it's just too old or something.
Some people, yes. Well, no, it's just a restaurant, I guess, can decide if they don't want to be partnered with restaurants.com anymore. So
Oh,
it had nothing to do with, because I think this was the same coupon, or this from the same gift card that she had.
okay, gotcha.
Um, and then what did we? Oh, so then we went over to what is it called? What's the cake
Yeah,
boss? He owns a bunch of
yep.
bakeries. There's one in Hoboken, so we went
I
over
think the
there, and I
original one is in
cannot.
Hoboken.
Really,
Yes, sir.
I'm looking up the name of the restaurant. It's called Carlos, like Carlos, but it's possessive of Carlos Bakery. And so we went over there, and the line was insane. The whole time we were sitting there trying to think of ways that they can make their line better, because you walk in, you take a number. It reminded me of that. I'm sure you've been to it. There's a deli in New York City, where they specialize in corned beef,
Corned beef or
and
pastrami?
I think it was corned beef.
Cat's
I didn't get
delicatessen.
it. Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
And I just remember going there and how packed it was. But they seem pretty efficient when you walk in. I think you place your order. You walk in, you get a slip, and you kind of mark what you want, and then you give them the slip, and then you pay for it up front, something like that. When you walk into Carlos, you take a number, and you're just standing
Oh, that's
there.
dumb.
There are tons of people that are like taking pictures because they want pictures of the place. I'm not sure how many people were actually not interested in getting anything. But we walked in, we picked up number 24, and they were serving number 94, and it took us a good like half an hour or so to actually get served. You're just kind of standing there. It's kind of a long store, so you look to see what you want inside the cases, and throughout the process of waiting like 30 minutes, we finally work our way through to the front, but we're moving like an inch a minute or something like that. So we finally see most of what they have, and we were able to place our order. But it was super packed, and they basically they don't have like a loudspeaker, and the numbers that they have on display don't update very frequently or like efficiently, I think. So sometimes they would say numbers, and people just didn't have those numbers, so they would just skip right over it and move on. I don't know if it's because those people took the number and left, or some people like their kids took a number, things like that. Um, but the rate of skips was pretty high. I was pretty amused by that one.
Okay.
And then we saw like, oh, you can order online. So we were like, oh, let's try to order online. Turns out you order online for like the next day. You can't order for that same day.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be a nice little like life hack. Pro tip.
Yeah. So and that was it. After that, we came home. Um, I can't. She went home, went to the gym. I came home, did whatever I did yesterday. I guess I did a little bit of work and chilled out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's yeah, I think that's it then.
Yeah.
Very cool. It seems like we both sort of had some fun.
Yeah. I really needed it. This past like week and a half or 2 weeks with work, and just like stress has been really high.
Yeah.
So I still got a good bit to do this week, but next week I'm coming up to see Bill Burr in
Madison Square Garden, dude.
Madison
That's
Square
gonna be a
Garden.
lot of fun because we have killer seats.
Yeah, I don't think we should do the podcast until Sunday so we can talk about the show. Maybe. I mean, we're not gonna reveal jokes, but it's up to you, I'd say. But or I guess we can figure it out as time goes
Yeah,
on.
I don't see why Sunday would be a bad play because you're gonna leave.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave Sunday.
I have to. I'm gonna leave Sunday morning. My half brother's coming down to visit my sister, and I wanna catch up with them.
Perfect. Let's do it. Yeah, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's kill it here.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, cool. All right, well, I'm Sandy.
I'm Reza.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week.